You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
All right, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of The Couch Potatoes. I'm Alex
Morrison.
And this week, we're going to be diving on into probably the namesake and the at least visual sake of this show. We're going to talk about the new season of Beavis and Butthead that came out kind of late last year. But they've already confirmed a season 2 for this already, or a new season rather, not season 2, whatever. So yeah, I figure we go ahead and dive back into that old season, talk about it and what we thought was funny about it. But as usual, just a little bit of housekeeping up top. As we talked about last week, we do have merch. Click that link in the episode description. Check out the new t-shirts we have available. You got the network logo, you got the Couch Potatoes t-shirt, and you got a Cryptic Conspiracy Cult t-shirt. And this is just the first wave. We're going to do a couple different things moving forward, like we talked about last week, like the puzzles. I definitely think that's something we ought to do. I think people are kind of liking the idea of the puzzles too. So definitely do that. Make sure and subscribe and hit like on any of those podcast platforms that you're currently listening to this on. That way you get up-to-date information as soon as it drops. And speaking of which, a brand new information that was provided to me right as we were sitting down to record, right as my finger was hovering over that record button. Chris just goes, "Oh yeah, I pissed off the Domino's people."
No, I pissed off someone at Domino's.
Oh, someone at Domino's.
I went to Domino's.
Oh, okay.
And it went south very quickly.
Okay, what? I'm really afraid to ask, but what happened?
So I decided to redeem one of those free pizzas, and I didn't want to pay for delivery.
Right.
So after tax, it comes out to $1 for just a medium 2-topping pizza. So I decided to go over there and go get it. I drive all the way out there. There's a line out the door last night, and everyone's waiting to order and stuff. So I just sit and wait in line. I don't give a shit. It's gonna take time for the pizza anyway. So I get near the counter, and this guy looks around and he's like, "Hey, you need to order?" I was like, "No, I'm just pick up." He's like, "Oh, okay. What's the name?" I said, "Morrison." He's like, "Jose?" "No, Morrison." He's like, he looks back here, he doesn't see it. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I can wait. I don't give a shit." And so I wait, and this one couple in there, she's like, "We've been waiting for 20 fucking minutes. You know, we ordered, blah, blah, blah." And then you can tell this place is packed. They had like 8 people just working in the back. I just sit there. I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I really don't. And they're like, "All right, ma'am, your order's ready. It's going to be 54 something." Because, I think they had like 5 pieces or like 6 pieces or some shit. Anyway, they're bitching and moaning. We want something free, basically, and just getting mad.
Yeah, for no reason.
And all I can think of is like, this isn't Little Caesars, which is something I used to do, which was wait for them to run out of pizza and then order pizza. So it would take them longer than 5 minutes to make me a pizza so I can get free breadsticks.
Oh, yeah, you have to do certain things when you're poor.
Yeah. The struggle meal becomes a struggle buffet if you're careful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's the same thing. It's like if you're on the struggle diet, you redeem those coupons on the back of every receipt that has like the free Whopper and shit.
Yeah, and just order large drinks so you can get another receipt. Yeah. So she's getting mad and pissed off, and the other guy that was at the registry is like, "Hey, man, your order's ready." Okay, so I walk beside her, and she's still mad. And the manager, he's being cool about it. He's like, "Fine, all right, man, tell you what, we got some breadsticks coming up. I'll throw in some feta cheese sticks or whatever." She's like, "You better." And I'm just like, "What?" Okay. And the guy in front of me is just like, "Hey, here's your pizza." And she just looks at me, and he's like, "That'll be $1.08. And I'm just like, "Here's $1 and a dime, keep the change." And I'm just like walking out, and she fucking, "What is it?" And I'm just walking out, and she's just fucking losing it. And like all these other people are just like, "Did he just pay $1 for a goddamn pizza?" And just like, deuces.
Reward system, bitches.
Like, as much as we use Domino's, like, yeah, it's going to happen.
I know, right?
You only have to order 3 times to get a free pizza. But I'm just like, that's how I'm going to start my night. Because I got to switch my sleep schedule anyway. So, like,
yeah, you're having to go through an entire work schedule change up now.
Yeah,
we created that whole thing in the Discord for you on the road with Morrison. As soon as you get back,
blackballed the shit out of me.
Blackballed the shit out of you.
That's what happens when you say, "Hey, I think that guy might need a harness," or "You're really doing that in front of the OSHA manual, really?"
When you start alerting people to their negligence, apparently you get blackballed and
you get fired.
So were you officially fired, or
They never called me. I got ghosted by an employer.
That's even worse. Getting ghosted by the hot chick in high school. All right, whatever, par for the course. But you get ghosted by your employer for going, "Hey, that's not safe."
Yeah, that's not safe at all.
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're working third shift.
Yeah, I'll be working at a place putting together auto parts, but job's a job.
Hey, money's money, bud. And speaking of, so I think just food places yesterday were having a horrible time, because I gave you a little preview when I came in this afternoon, because all day yesterday it was Rachel's birthday. We were doing celebration.
Happy birthday, Rachel, if you're listening to this.
She isn't. But we did like an all-day kind of thing. We'll talk about one of the other things I did earlier, but we were rounding it off. We get back to Uptown, and I was like, well, we're getting kind of hungry. What do you want for dinner? She's like, let's get Sabor. It's like, cool. It's a pretty decent little chain Mexican restaurant. Well, we walk in, and we didn't realize that there was like some sort of like artist playing the Spectrum Center downtown. We even looked it up, did not even know the guy's name, but downtown was flooded with fans and people all wearing his shirt. So it was an event. So we walk into that Sabor, pack the fuck out. And it was like, okay, even if we wind up getting our order placed, there's nowhere to sit. Like, and people aren't in a hurry to get up. You know, this fucking, we'll just... And we kind of went through a couple different things of like, well, should we just select it for pickup and like take it back to the apartment? You know, what do we want to kind of sort out? And eventually we kind of figured out, I looked up online and I had like certain free deliveries and discounts and shit. I was like, actually, it'd be actually cheaper if we went back home and I ordered this as fucking delivery. Like, legit, it would be cheaper. So we're like, all right, fine. We get back on the train. We go back home. By that time, I'm already placing the order. Order's already there by the time we get there. And I'm like, all right, it's fucking sweet. So we walk up, grab the food, walk on upstairs, and there's 2 burritos in there, and open it up. And it wasn't just the wrong order. It was delivered to, like, it was the wrong person on the ticket. Like, it wasn't even my name. It was someone else's name. So they didn't, like, include the wrong shit. We just got someone else's order. And it wasn't even good. It was like tofu burritos and shit. It was just like, fuck, this isn't even like good enough to eat. So get on the goddamn live chat. It takes an hour, literally an hour to get through on DoorDash live chat. Show them the photos, show them the receipt. We got the wrong thing. They're like, oh, okay, well, Sabor is about to close, so the best we can do is offer you a full refund and store credit, and so you can place a different thing. We're like, all right, fine. We get off there. We look, Sabor's still taking fucking orders. So we're like, all right, no, fuck you. We get back in there, place an additional order for Sabor exactly how we had it ordered, place order, and about maybe 30 minutes later, the guy eventually pulls through. Now, this guy, I do not understand people and not being able to read a GPS. This guy made 3 circles around her apartment complex before he finally like pulled in and knew what to do. I even told him, I was like, no, the name of the building is like really big on the outside. Oh, is it one of the hotels? No, it's an apartment complex, and the name of the apartment complex is blank. You know, it is insert name here, and it's really big, like and flashing lights on the front. I said, you can just pull straight up there, drop it off at the front. I'll be up there, grab it. Takes him forever. Eventually, I have to meet him like a block away, and he hands me the bag, and I'm like, this thing is fucking heavy. Walk back upstairs, and I take a look. I was like, no fucking way. It's both of our orders.
Yeah.
He grabbed both of the Alex orders and like they were here. I was like, oh shit. Okay. Well, this is fucking weird. We got 4 burritos now and 2 in the trash. So like, you know, we got 6 burritos in this bitch. She was like, that's crazy. So we eat ours. are the ones we typically wanted. And as I was grabbing the bag to like just put the leftovers in the fridge, because everything in there was reheatable, there wasn't anything like crunchy in there. It was all stuff that could be just reheated and be fine. As I'm picking the bag up one more time, I'm like, this still feels heavier, because we ate the new order. We didn't eat the old order. Start going through the bag. There was an extra burrito in the original bag.
A free burrito because it was going to be late.
And yeah, a free burrito in the original bag. And I'm like, holy fuck. There are, before we ate the 2 that we just had just now for our dinner, there were 7 fucking burritos from one restaurant in this house.
And you only paid for 2.
And only paid for 2 of them. So what turned into like a what the fuck slowly turned into a, all right, well, we got our money's worth. we got quite a few meals out of all of these.
There was a guy that used to do that at Chick-fil-A. What he would do is he would order from one Chick-fil-A, drive across town to the other one, and deliberately order the same thing with like a variation. And he hated Chick-fil-A. That's what he did. He did this because he spited them. Anyway, the guy would take his order, because first of all, Chick-fil-A, I don't care what you think of them, they are efficient at what they do. He orders blah blah, like a chicken sandwich, no pickles, blah blah blah. Gets around and he's like, hey, I think there's something wrong with my order, can you check it? And the guy opens the bag and it's a chicken sandwich, like pickles and mayonnaise and all this shit. And he's just like, oh, sir. And he hands him back the bag. Let me get you another one. And he would constantly do this. A lot.
God damn it.
And I used to do this on road trips. What I would do is I go to McDonald's somewhere on the road, get like 2 McDoubles, and then go up the road even further if it's a longer drive and get like 2 McChickens and be like, hey, you gave me 2 McDoubles, can I get my 2 McChickens? And just like show them the bag.
That is some shady shit. I love it, but that is some shady shit.
They are big corporations that can suck my dick.
No, and
I've had Sabor. I used to eat Sabor when I was in Mooresville working all the time, and I'm just like, it's overpriced bullshit.
It is overpriced, and that's why I was like, it turned into a good night. We got 7 burritos for the price of 2.
Yeah, like a 7 for 2 deal is pretty good.
Yeah. And these things are big. Like, they put Chipotle to shame. It's just like, you were eating.
That's the thing about Brennan Lee Mulligan. He'll talk about, he's like, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care. It's got to be heavy.
Yes.
It's got to have weight. And I'm just like, yep.
This is a heavy burrito, so I'm satisfied. But one of the other things we did before Sabor was I wound up seeing the new Scream movie, which was very awkward for me because I saw the first 2 Scream movies years ago, and that was it.
Yep.
So seeing, like, I think it was number 6, yeah, that was a weird experience trying to connect all the lore and try to get caught up all in one movie. But I will say, no spoilers for the movie, they do a pretty good job. Like, if you haven't like followed the franchise, even the movie that came out last year, I still hadn't seen it.
It's okay.
Without seeing all of those, even they do a pretty good job getting you caught up as if this was maybe the first Scream movie you've watched in a long time.
Yeah, those are the Scream movies are always fun movies because they're very they make fun of the horror genre, but they're also still suspenseful.
Yeah,
they kind of leaves you wondering at the end, especially like you said, you never saw number 3. Number 3 has Liv Shriver in it, and it's another character that we've seen in the first 2 movies that's only been mentioned. He's never been seen, and they bring him onto the cast, and then a whole like mess kind of things. And he kind of does that whole redirect, kind of like the same with the Scream movies, where I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like, who is this person? And
yeah,
it works very well throughout.
And this movie kind of continues on with what you were saying. So the movie that came out last year, you know, it being the daughter of the original killer and shit like that. They definitely play into that very heavily and almost kind of do like the witch hunt thing of like, well, if that was your relatives, you know, these Loomis characters, you know, what are you actually?
Yeah.
You know, they kind of play into that a lot more.
Kind of like the first one. Where it's just like, no, he's the bad guy. Well, no, like, he can't be the bad guy. I saw the bad guy. And it's just like, it's a nice little bait and switch.
And then dead serious, there's like 2 or 3 twists by the end. And it kind of kept you going because you felt like you kind of knew where it was going, and they legit pulled out some stuff that only a horror movie could pull out and make work.
I remember the 4th one had the dumbest twists, like a plot hole after plot hole, and I'm just like, you are very cavalier about determining whether or not these teenagers have the gall to kill. Like, first one I can kind of believe because they're fucked in the head and they just want to do this one thing. And number two, it's a little bit more adult. They're not in high school anymore. And then three, they're full-fledged adults and they're doing the first or second stab movie. And all this. And like, by number four, I think I was just like, all these kids are sociopaths? Like, is there something in the water? Like, there has to be something. It is Florida.
And they do play into all of that really well in this new movie. And even because I think the twists were very well done, because the first time the twist happens, you go, oh, yes, that makes sense. I wasn't fully thinking of that, but you know what? Holy fuck. Looking back at the entire movie, that makes sense. Literally within 2 minutes, you're proven wrong, and you as a viewer get like sucked back out of it, being like, wait, if that's not, oh shit, it turns into one of those. So the movie does a very good job at kind of like setting up the pins and then dropping them just right. Yep. So I highly recommend it, even for someone that didn't fully catch the series as it went on. They did a good job keeping you caught up. At one point, one of the characters literally draws a diagram for you explaining all of the movies, quote unquote. So it actually is kind of meta in that regard, and it worked pretty well.
That's kind of like what I like about some of the newer horror movies. I'm glad to hear that, because with sequels of horror movies, they can always be too campy or too just blasé, and it's just like we've talked about it last episode. The horror movies now are fantastic. I was talking to somebody recently about X and Pearl, which is part of a 3-movie set. Third movie will come out this year, and it'll be the first horror trilogy to come out within 2 years. So both movies came out last year. The third movie will come out this year. So, and they're fantastic, like, so far. And I'm really glad horror's on an uptick right now.
It really does seem to be. And what's also cool is there's a lot of jokes even within the Scream movie of like, these we're not in a sequel, we're in a requel, where it's a reboot that's also a sequel that continues on from the legacy characters, and the legacy characters are just expendable. We have to worry about the new characters.
That would have been cool if they had like just like a cameo knockoff version of Jay and Silent Bob, and just Jay being like, that sounds fucking stupid. I'm gonna say just like Burton Wood. He's like, that sounds fucking dumb as shit.
Yeah, so they even kind of look, because again, the killers, it's kind of cool. The movie kind of went full circle, in my opinion, because the original Scream movie was based on the killings that were happening in Florida.
Yep.
Then the movie comes out and creates a lot of copycat killers. Well, in the Scream movies, that's now what's happening. Yeah. The kids that were creating the Stab movies, now there are worshipers of the Stab movies and people doing podcasts and dissertations on the Stab movies, thus creating new copycats. And then they're looking at it and they're like, oh, these copycat murderers are following the films. So we're not worried about this. We're not looking at the sequel, quote, films. We're looking at the requel, quote, films. And so they do a lot of meta deep dive doublespeak thing in it. It works really well for their universe. If it was outside their universe, you'd be like, you're trying way too hard. They created their own universe to be able to tell this much of a meta story. So I highly recommend it. Once you see it, we'll do a full spoiler cast on it, because I think that'd be a good one to actually deep dive. There's a lot of Easter eggs, there's a lot of callbacks, and there's a lot of tributes to old stuff. So I think it'd be fun to maybe do a Scream franchise breakdown as we get a little closer to Halloween. Yeah, that'd be pretty fun, because that's actually reignited my interest in the series. It was that good. But that's not even a news segment. How about we dive on into some actual shit and talk about some Nintendo news? So, the world of Nintendo has been ablaze the last few weeks with data mines and leaks and everything else. So it's already been heavily rumored that the Metroid game for Game Boy Advance is going to be coming out soon. But one of the things that is very much hinging on that game working
GameCube
for the Game Boy, for that game to be very compatible, you really needed the link cable with the Game Boy.
Oh, you mean Fusion?
Yes. They have been able to pull out data and show that there is link cable screenshot instructions within the code of the system. So this just leads into what we were talking about even a few weeks ago with the Pokemon games and get Pokemon Stadium, how we needed some sort of link connection in order for all of these things to interact. Well, if they're already implementing it with Metroid, that's a pretty good sign of things to come.
Kind of curious how they're going to do it, considering Game Freak is kind of bowed out on the Pokemon series. But I can see that being pretty fantastic with the launch of Prime, because Metroid Prime is the one you linked Fusion to.
Right.
And then you had another Metroid game later on. I watched a guy do a review, and that motherfucker pissed a bunch of people off in the comments where he ranked them in his personal and he ranked like the worst one as his favorite, and we were just like, you're a goddamn blind idiot. And it's just like, you like what you like, but like the second Metroid game ever was on the original Game Boy, so like that's what I thought you were talking about. And I'm just I was like, wow, they should have released that a while back.
But since they put out that new remaster of the Metroid game, the Game Boy compatible game that would have worked with that back in the day.
But the Game Boy Advance game.
Yes.
I'm kind of happy for that one. I haven't played that one in a very long time. It goes back to the side scroller version instead of the first person shooter. But I'm excited. I would love to see how they're going to integrate echoes and stuff like that later on, which will be a big part of the GameCube verse, and which was part of the second Game Boy Advance game that you could link to. So because they had two Game Boy Advance games and two GameCube games come out,
right? And
they were fucking ridiculously hard.
And then you had the Legend of Zelda Game Boy games. They kind of did like the Pokemon thing, where it was like
Sword story.
So those have already been confirmed to be coming to the Game Boy Advance channel on the Switch, and even those games, much like Pokemon, you would use the link cable to connect the two to exchange and fully complete your quests. So it does seem like they're going to be creating some sort of either peripheral or internal quote unquote link cable thing.
I guess I'm going to have to buy that expansion so we can play Four Swords.
Dude, I'm telling you that with the way this is going to be a good year for Nintendo.
Well, this goes back to what we were talking about. What else can they do?
Yeah.
Because they're console wise, they're not going to be able to keep up to the PS5 and the Xbox One S Elite or whatever. So by the time they probably get to that point, PlayStation's probably got something new on the horizon, kind of like the PS5, Ultra or something like that, or Xbox has got like another expansion software issue or something like a X Elite S or some shit. So by the time those come out, I think the Switch will probably, like I hate to say it, will probably be like the last platform console they'll ever have, because it's a console and a handheld, and all they can do is just make a better handheld, but it'll still be a Switch. That's what I'm seeing it as.
No, and I totally agree, because Nintendo does have a new US director, Doug Bowser. Great fucking name to run Nintendo, by the way, Bowser.
This is Secretary Mario.
Yeah.
Later Finance Luigi. Yeah.
HR is Peach.
Yeah.
He seems to have a bit of a different mindset and directive for Nintendo than past CEOs have. And it seems like he's a lot more willing to go with the subscription-based services and provide the classic games under a subscription service rather than an individual charge. Like the previous virtual consoles, you had to pay like $5 for each of those retro games you wanted. Sure, it's only $5, but if I could just pay like $40 a year and get all this.
That's the same. So he's doing the same thing Xbox had did with theirs. And I got to say, so it's about amount of content. Is it heavy? So
is the Switch heavy with content?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you go buy an Xbox and get an Xbox subscription, that library on their pass is immaculate. It is too fucking big. You can download a game, play it, and get it off your system. Or guess what? Xbox don't give a shit. You can just copy it to a hard drive and keep it forever. They don't care, because they're getting money in perpetuity. This is how games are going to be from now on. See, Steam did it right the first time, where you could just buy the game directly from the publisher, and then you have these Steam sales where a game that's $60 is now like $5, because it's just that you're just downloading a code with a game. The Switch is the last one kind of on this platform, but they also are the first with the retro platform. PlayStation would every now and then be like, hey, do you want to play a game from PlayStation 3? Xbox be like, hey, we have an old Xbox One game that we ported over as a special edition with Halo 5. So now you can play the original Halo game. That game sucks in comparison to like Halo 5 because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to look at. But with Nintendo being the first, so their catalog library is going to be a lot larger. It's so easy to port those over to a subscription service, because if you imagine the server library is minuscule compared to what an Xbox 360 game would be or a PlayStation 2 game would be. So when they did that, NES is free for all. SNES, giant catalog. It's not big enough. There are some titles that are missing.
Basically anything they would have to pay like copyrights to. Like there's no Star Wars games. The Mickey Mouse games aren't in there. No DuckTales.
Yeah, but you can always buy the cartridge.
That's right.
Or you can homebrew the son of a bitch. But with Nintendo, their flagship stuff is always going to be their flagship stuff. We could talk about all day who's got the better flagship, but Mario is Mario at the end of the day. And then they incorporated Sonic too. So now you have Sonic with Sega all being ported over, and part of one of the Switch expansion packs is the Genesis pack. So
yeah, everyone kind of skips over that one, but yeah, you get an entire Sega channel.
They have Echo the Dolphin. You can play as a fucking dolphin.
I love how Echo the Dolphin is on nearly every one of those old Sega collections.
You know how batshit crazy that storyline is? You're fighting aliens. That's what it is at the end of the game. It's aliens. It's kind of like that weird ending at the end of Resident Evil where you find out it's a dog.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous, but like, that's what they're going to be making their bread and butter on. It's like, they'll keep doing cool things like the expansions with Mario Kart 8 or Infinity, whatever they're going to call it. But they're going to keep exploiting that game and keep making maps, keep doing all this because they can. There's no reason to make a new game because you've already made this game and it's perfect.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is like, even though Nintendo was kind of the first in the market, but kind of the last to do, their subscription service with old games, it really feels like they kind of took the Apple approach of just like, we're going to wait it out. We're going to see what's going to work, see what our audience wants.
And then a bald guy with glasses going like, put all my music on this fucking stick. Put it on in this goddamn box right now. All my photos, all my shit in this little box, or I'll kill you.
And then the whole team cries for a year and a half straight, and then you make $1 million.
Yep. And then we continue the devil and Edison. I think what Nintendo is, they've hit that sweet spot between the Wii and the Switch where they tried out. I guarantee you, the Switch was a pitch that created the Wii U by accident. I guarantee you money that's what the Wii U was. It was a pitch meeting idea, and then someone said, great idea, bad release, because it is a blocky thing. If you've ever held a Wii U controller, it's fucking big as shit. And then someone's like, what if we could take those controls off the screen? What if we could put dock it somewhere and play it? Because at that time, LG had phones that did that. They had these little ports where you could just put your phone and it's part of the TV. I had one at one time, but that technology wasn't where it needed to be. They built a little box, some cheap controllers that slide right off, and guess what? They're good enough. They're just good enough not to fly the fuck off where you're just like using the 6-axis controller. You know what I'm saying? So they did the trial and error with the Wii U, realized they could pack more graphics into a fucking screen, and then just port it over with a USB-C, a new module for HD. Yeah, so they just waited it out, and they don't need to make another console. I honestly believe there's no reason for them to make another console other than make peripheral software to connect to a Wii.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And what I was leading with Doug Bowser kind of doing is for the first time, and the reason I was saying he kind of leads Nintendo a little bit differently is for the first time a CEO has kind of talked about the future of their systems before any sort of official release. And he said that the Switch is still selling strong, just like it did within its first few years, that they're not immediately rushing to try to put something else on the market. He said, but the vision that they have is that it will make the Switch seem like obsolete technology. He said that what is the next form factor we can bring? What is the next bit of innovation and fun we can bring to our customers? That's where we're looking moving forward with Nintendo. So I find that kind of interesting. And he was saying that the current slate and dock of Switch titles will endure. So that kind of winks at a backwards compatibility, meaning like we're still going to release and continue to do for Switch, but the moment we feel like it's right, we're going to release this new piece of hardware. Don't worry, all the other Switch stuff we're planning on doing is going to work with this, but now we're going to put this on you too. I wonder if they're going to do a VR.
Yeah, I could see that. That's the next step, pretty much. The only problem I have with this idea of, so it's like you have a house, and now it's just like, now I built a new house with some new features, and then I built a new house with some features. Switch has hit that sweet spot where we're just going to add on to the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, there's nothing wrong with the hardware right now. It's no different from when the Super Nintendo came out and all these peripherals came out. The idea of a Game Shark or something like that.
Yeah.
It was compatible with the system. The old one for the NES was hard kind of do because you had to leave that stock thing open, and it was very, very bulky.
Kind of janky.
Yeah, janky. And then not only that, you had the zappers. Well, guess what? Super Nintendo made a better gun.
The Super Scope.
Yeah, the Super Scope looks like a bazooka. But like you have all these items that they built on, right? And then by the time the big console war started, they come out with the GameCube with all the other peripherals, a Game Boy player. Let's make it backwards compatible. Guess what? At that time, online was a joke. The PlayStation 2 could do online. PlayStation 1 barely was able to. If you had Phantasy Star for the PlayStation, yeah, you could use the online. But PlayStation 2 is what kicks it up a notch. And so that's...
Same thing with Xbox Live.
Yeah. So everybody saw that coming, and then the Wii's like, all right, we have the Wii. You can make a little emoticon, blah, blah, blah. Was it a Wii person?
Yeah, me.
Me, yeah. That's when it kind of separates for me. It's just like, you can make adult fucking content. Just make adult content. Like,
well, see, I don't see that as like inherently kid content,
it is.
though.
I do. It's fucking cartoony as shit. If you can't kill
Oh,
them.
so cartoons are only for kids, Chris?
Those cartoons are. Yeah. Yeah, you goddamn right. Mickey Mouse Club's for kids.
It's not Mickey Mouse Club.
It looks like it. But so they seem to be the last in line, but when they do it, it's at a different level. So, you know, they're going down the road, they're just taking a different way through the road. But like, let's say, why would they come up with another Mario Kart game when they could just add on to this game?
Yeah, and that's what's even making the live subscription finally worth it. Like their online subscription used to be, is like, okay, yeah, might as well. But then when they released that expansion pack, when the price you were looking at was just like, ooh, that's a little heavy for you. You give me a whole lot of extra content. And now with everything on the horizon, with the rumored Pokemon channel that would have Stadium and the old Game Boy games, the Link Cable app, all the new Metroid stuff that's coming out for it, and then essentially with all the expansions they're doing in Mario Kart, you're essentially getting a brand new Mario Kart game. By the time it's said and done, you're going to have like over 32 new courses. Birdo finally just got released. Like, they weren't saying they were going to add new racers, but now they're adding new racers to it. So yeah, exactly what you said. Why create a new one when you can just create the DLC for it? And now it's all included with your expansion pack subscription.
Yeah, but so it's no different. Like, that game's development should not be no different than Mortal Kombat X. We got new characters, we got new movesets, we got new arenas. Why not? You know, they're just playing that same thing. And
if the engine still runs good and the mechanics are good.
But yeah, like, not even just the engine. It's just like, because at the end of the day, it's just data after that. You rarely we're going to get to that phase where you don't need a cartridge, you don't need a disc. So it's just how much power is on that fucking hard drive and how much processing power you have. So,
and maybe that's the next generation for the Nintendo systems, just something that could genuinely power any game they wanted to play on that little handheld console.
Yeah, and like, we are like, Nintendo won't, but Xbox, PlayStation will. They'll hit that weird valley once, the uncanny valley that makes people very uncomfortable. That's when instinct just kicks in and we just start going outside and start playing.
Touch grass.
But like, even some of the Mikey had sent me a picture of just like there was a game where you power wash houses, like, and I'm just like, that's the same people that make Final Fantasy, and he's like, what? And he looked at the publisher title. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking the same people that make Final Fantasy, one of the greatest fucking looking games of its time. And I'm just like, yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
That was 3 coders that just ripped a bong and went power wash.
10 years from now, vape shop salesman, you get to play that guy.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
where's your ID?
Yeah.
Need my ID, bro.
Yeah.
Where's your ID?
yeah Go outside, take the trash out, wash the bathroom, arrange the Swisher Sweets. It's like, you know what I'm saying, like that'll be the dot. And like, because you've brought it up before, you and your girl play that chef game where, but it's an actual course or something, or like the kitchen moves or something. Yeah, that kind of gives it a little fun then, but eventually it's just going to be like, yes, chef, and it's just like, holy shit, like, this is too immersive.
I literally burned my hand just now. Why does my foot hurt? Is that blood?
Yeah, it's just like that's the next part of like VR. It's just like you're going to be cooking, or you're going to be running a shop or something like that. Eventually, it's just going to come down like Grand Theft Auto 6, where everyone is part of like San Andreas or some shit, and everybody's just walking around, and it's just a hellscape. Or you can go like the Stardew Valley route, where it's very wholesome and it's not as violent. You're just building a fucking farm, like Animal Crossing or some shit. But like that's what it's going to come down to. These really weird immersive. Like I literally have a game called Farm Simulator. All I do is drive a tractor, and it's fine. Like it's just like you literally just pass the time, and it's fucking weird as shit. That you're just like. That I just spent, like, there was one guy, he spent 5 days playing the lawnmower game to get all 100 contracts completed, and it took him 5 days. And guess what he was doing? He was mowing lawns and using like a weed whacker, and that's it. He completed all of them, and he was just like, at the end of it, this motherfucker had like a 5 o'clock shadow, sweating like a motherfucker, but that's a whole different type of gaming.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, that's what Switch is going to end up being. It's just like, hey, what's the new Mario game? Oh, you mean Mario Neurosurgeon? And he's just cracking open a toad, making sure he doesn't have Alzheimer's and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be that too immersive, and these little kiddie games are just going to be like, God damn, what did I miss?
And speaking of all that, finally getting a couple new trailers for the Mario movie, and every time I'm getting more excited, man. It's
coming in like 2-3 weeks.
Oh yeah, it's very soon. All
hail to the Rainbow Road.
Oh yes. No, I won't talk on that one too much, but no, I will be. Look, we may have missed the boat on doing a spoiler cast on Ant-Man. You have got to see this goddamn Mario movie so we can talk about it on the fucking show, Chris.
See which one of the 30 days I have off.
Yes.
I don't have any so far.
I know.
Now maybe they'll hire enough people I can get like 5 days a week.
Well, you're working third shift. Just get an early matinee. Get a discount.
Just cut into my sleep time.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll do it for the podcast, Chris. Goddamn.
And then I got to schedule doing the podcast because I'm not going to be living here.
Hey, we can easily do Zoom. We can make that work.
Yeah. No, you want to Teams me? You motherfucker?
No.
How about you Skype? Skype is cool. Skype fucks. to quote the video. Yeah, you want to Zoom me? Yeah, fucking loser.
Yeah, no. If we want our listeners to immediately tune out for constant buffering, we'll use Zoom. I mean, for Skype.
Yeah.
But we'll use Zoom. That way it doesn't fully go tits up.
Skype's a shit. Smoke cigarettes.
But speaking of, you also showed me something else I wanted to put in the news segment. There is a thing I did not know existed. And now I have a feeling I'm about to go down a weird deep dive over the next few days. There's a thing called competitive juggling now.
Oh, yes. The world of odd sports.
Yes. Now, let me paint the picture for audiences at home.
40 clowns enter, only one clown leaves.
You know what? That might be something you would think of when you hear competitive juggling. Maybe a line of people juggling crazy things. How long can you juggle for without stopping? No, that's not what this is. These are motherfuckers walking around a room juggling, all the while shoving and knocking the other jugglers' items out of their hands and out of the air. It's literally juggling for bullies, and I'm sitting here enthralled. This is a real sport. Juggling these fucking bowling ball pins and then walking around hip checking and shoving motherfuckers to get them off their game and get them to quit juggling.
They juggle other stuff too, like balls and stuff like that. So I'm just thinking like right up over like lawnmower racing and cornhole. Like this is that kind of sport.
See, look, here's the thing. Lawnmower racing, as stupid as it sounds, I at least get where it could come from. A whole bunch of redneck hicks in the middle of nowhere have a whole bunch of their tractors and lawnmowers and everything else. Let's see who's fastest. And then old Billy Bob down the street, hey, I put me one of them nozzles on my tractor and watch this.
Like Del Gribble.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Just blow his shit up.
Yeah. So it's like, I totally see where the origins of that could happen. Cornhole, ridiculous, stupid fucking name, but again, I get the concept. I get the allure and how that could have started.
You put the beanbag in the hole.
Yes. Where did let's all juggle while shoving each other? Where did that come from?
Competition, just the idea of competition. One guy probably said, I could juggle better than you. One guy's like, I bet I could beat the shit out of you while you juggle. Like that's how that conversation started. It's no different than like competitive professional dodgeball. Games we played as kids, overdone to a professional level. Like
yes, but to me that even makes sense.
Yeah, but if you can do it, you can make it into a game, and that's all it is. And so like, you remember? Did y'all ever have the guy come to your PE class and show people how to juggle?
No, but we had the yo-yo guy.
Yeah, because he was trying to sell yo-yos. Public school is nothing but a giant soliciting campaigin for
capital.
had
Ronald McDonald too.
Yeah, you had Ronald McDonald, and you had that guy who would sell candy bars, you piece of shit, and you get this little flashy thing that costs 2 cents.
Yep. And then the one rich kid just sells all the chocolate bars to his family and then gets like the book cover.
That's all you got, Timmy, you piece of shit. But like, that's all it is. But we had a guy that came in and he gave kids, like, you had 3 scars, like 3 lightly scars because they fall down slow. And that's how you learn to juggle. That's how he taught us how to juggle. I was more interested in the yo-yo guy. But it was teaching about coordination.
Right.
Eventually, those kids that were good at it ended up playing basketball. So, like, that was the whole thing. My sister dated a juggler.
Juggalo?
No, juggler. Someone who could juggle. She was a clown. But anyway,
more doot 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 loot loot than whoop whoop.
More like, I have nothing else to do. Let's juggle. But anyway,
I can only masturbate so many times in one day.
But like, when you're thinking about competitiveness, that's what it comes down to. And then you just create the game based on that. Dodgeball is no different. Like, dodgeball was like, I throw it to you, you throw it to me, and it's like, what if I really throw a pass at you? Like, I bet you I can hit you. And it's like, no, you can't. And boom, that's how the game started. And that's when the kickball became the dodgeball. And it's no different. There are odder sports like bike ball. I think I showed you that. It was like they're on bicycles and it's a soccer game on bicycles. Yeah, no different. That's no different than that game wheelchair guys play with basketball. The same fucking thing.
Yeah.
So it's just.
I don't know, man. Like the way my brain works, like all of these that you're listing off, they make sense. Mm-hmm. I can see how the origins of everything you just listed started. Aside from this competitive juggling, it blows my brain apart because, again, I look at things from such a logical standpoint. And all of these other sports, even dodgeball, I even totally get where that could come from. It's just throw and catch. And then one motherfucker just throws it really hard. And then you're like, oh, you missed me. And then you just keep doing
it. That's what juggling is. You're throwing to yourself.
Yes, but when did let's insert a bully to fucking shove you over and over and steal your pins? Where did that come from? Was it the fucking nerd in school that just got tired of masturbating? Which, by the way, that's the only reason there's jugglers that existed. It's guys that just one day mid-stroke just went, I'm bored. That's the only reason you would ever take up juggling, is if you got bored with masturbating, because I play guitar and masturbate. My hands are good. I don't need to learn how to juggle.
The other thing is, it's like there's other games more crazier that
right. But was it the kid that was just like rocking that shit out, and then the school bully came over, he's like, "Hey nerd," starts shoving him, but like he kept going.
Yeah.
And then like
teeter-totter.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Samantha in the corner, she's like, "Whoa." He kept going, even though Billy just shoved him. Wow! And then slowly started getting a group around. Billy still fucking shoving the shit out of him, stealing his pins, guy stealing them back, still keeping them going.
The weirdest thing is the structure of the game. It's multiple people coming, and it's a team game.
Yes!
And
there's
so
multiple motherfuckers doing this.
I would love there to be a PvP version of this, which is 1-on-1, but like a kind of like a bracket system to where the end is just like you're juggling, let's say, bowling ball pins, or like tennis balls or something like that, and you have to beat the champion who's like doing chainsaws. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen the chainsaw juggler. That motherfucker don't give a fuck.
No.
He's got two hands for a reason.
Which, by the way, how do you even practice that?
Carefully.
But in all seriousness, how do you practice chainsaw juggling? Like, okay, yeah, no shit, you don't have to turn them on to practice. Yeah, duh.
Some of them are on.
Well, yeah, of course they will be. You got to get used to the motor vibrating too. But like, duh, of course you can get used to the weights without turning them on. But like, don't turn them on. Don't take the chains off. You grab the wrong end, that's still gonna fucking hurt.
No, that's probably what happened to the guy with Def Leppard.
Oh.
He's in the news recently. Someone whooped his ass in public. Yeah, 19-year-old kid walked up to him and started beating the shit out of him.
It's even than a one-man arm.
Oh, an old man with one arm, man. That's fucking cold.
Fucked up. You don't
Pyromania sucks! And just starts
swelling up on him.
Starts quoting Kid Rock from Joe Dirt. Def Leppard sucks!
Well, you mentioned another piece of news a little earlier. I completely forgot what it was, too. I meant to write it down when you mentioned it. There's actually been some shakeups going on with the MCU.
The Disney Plus, yeah.
Yeah. So when you went to check out Disney Plus or the Disney MCU website to see like the upcoming release slates for everything, you know, you had like at least the month with the year. There's not even years associated with a lot of these titles anymore. Now it just says coming soon.
Yeah.
You brought it up with Loki, but it's shown up with a lot of the different series. It just shows up just saying, coming soon.
Yeah, I think they're just playing it safe because they're going to have to deal with other content creators or just like streaming services, and you want yours in like the ripe space. You know, Disney's pretty good at that anyway.
What are they having to worry about streaming wise?
Let's say like Hulu decides to drop a new show or make a new contract deal and start revamping shows Netflix dropped off like a bunch of fucking idiots.
Well, they don't have the rights to them though.
No,
they only get the rights to that if Disney approves.
But I'm talking about they're going to compete with other streaming services on releases, and then streaming services are doing one thing only: biding your time. They're buying your fucking time. So you got people that watch whole things at once. You got people that watch episode by episode. So Disney's going to have to compete with that when other streaming services do that. The biggest one right now is Paramount. Paramount streams one day at a time. So, hey, Wednesday night, this new show is going to come out. So if they're slated to have a bunch of new shows come out, or Disney has inside information about new shows in development and where to time their shit, it really works out for them, because when it came to the movie theater, they were just fighting with themselves. It was like Star Wars and Marvel and Star Wars. They didn't have to worry about the DCEU because it sucks. But like now they have to. Now they have to fucking worry. So now they're just game planning.
Yeah,
it's just a timing issue,
which I'm kind of thankful for, because we on one of the main topic couch potatoes we've had slated was an MCU Phase 4 roundup, but I don't know, like the more I'm just kind of sitting here thinking about all these past movies and series, you know, there's been, of course, a few shining stars. It's not been all garbage, but when you look at the previous, I mean, we mentioned this, when you look at the previous phases, it felt like there was at least a direction. You look at all these movies right now, and it doesn't feel like any of them are trying to move in the same direction. It doesn't feel like each one is serving the story. It's serving itself currently. So
I think with this new, the new storyline they're pushing, I think it'll consolidate moves, what matters. We have, in all intents and purposes, one antagonist now.
Yeah.
We've gone back, but
hundreds of versions, but one guy.
But one main guy. Great actor too. And in the next,
seriously,
and in the next, so like next Moon Knight, he'll be the villain in that. He'll be probably the villain or a villain-esque character in Loki. Armor Wars, I imagine he's going to be part of that somehow. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird way of telling the story because it's a complicated story to tell. Let's just get that out of the way. Comics created a multiverse thing. It's going to be very complicated. And guess what? Their main competitor is doing the exact same thing. DC is doing the same thing. So it's going to be...
They may be the chum bucket when we're dealing with the Krusty Krab, but I mean, they're still trying to replicate the formula.
But like, it's going to be, this multiverse, multi-story, and it's a good way to fight against, continuity issues. That's probably the main reason that shit got brought up. Is just like, wait, there's a Superman on Earth and a Supergirl. Why the fuck does he need to be here? Then he can retire. It's just like, no, he doesn't retire, and then he retires, and then he dies, and it's just like, how many times can he fucking die? It's the same with Marvel. How many times can the X-Men destroy the Earth or fuck shit up? Or wait, you're telling me mutants exist along with gods that are real? Superhumans on top of that, and yet everyone on Earth is cool with that.
Not to mention a spidered man.
Yeah, there's a whole storyline of Spider-Man getting caught when he's not a mutant, and they figure out that, and he gets fucking ostracized and almost killed, like, because of that. It's just like, yeah, X-Men are assholes. But like, that's the whole thing, and trying to tell a fucking complicated story with these titan characters. It's like, wait, he's the greatest superhero, or she's the most powerful. It's just like, you can't keep doing that, because continuity wise, someone's going to be so fucking high up the food chain, it's just going to be nothing but goddamn great whites.
Yeah.
And no one's going to want to watch that. It's going to be lame. I need fleeing people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but for every time there's a bigger hero, a greater threat always has to come through. Yeah. So no matter how powerful our heroes are, there's always going to be a villain that's more cunning or powerful.
And the problem with the MCU already has actually created the greatest MacGuffin in the entire series. They created time travel. So they created it, and they also created...
But is it time travel or multiverse?
No, they created time travel, but they also created eternal life. They created eternal life, and everybody forgets that. During when they were testing the machine, they turned Bruce, or was it Bruce Banner?
No, it was Hank Pym.
They turned Hank Pym...
Ant-Man, whatever his fucking name is. Yeah, Lang.
They turned him into a child and back to an adult, and then they figured out time travel. It's just like, no, you created eternal youth, motherfucker. You just created a Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, who could probably wield the hammer. You could literally be a god through a fucking switch. And at any point, if I hear anything in the Marvel universe, in the series, the shows, the movies, that, oh, they died of cancer. No, you cured that. You fixed that when you created the youth device. All right?
What's funny, Scott even mentions that because it's not a spoiler, but Scott's whole thing leading into the new Ant-Man movie was after Endgame, he just kind of stopped. He was just like, not out of any sort of I'm done with this, but I saved the universe. I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing a book. I'm going to talk about it. He quit superheroing and just became a celebrity of his own accord. And
thank you, Spider-Man.
Yep, and that's literally what that came from. And but what... At one point, he's reading a portion of the book he wrote, and he was like, and then Captain America turned me into a baby. I don't know how I really felt about that. Should I be proud to be a baby? Would I now be Captain America's baby? It's kind of leading into it. So he had conscious thought even as a youth. So that's an interesting wrinkle if we want to get all nerdy with it. But they retain their knowledge when they get younger.
Yeah, that's you created a perpetual youth device. You're basically slapping God in the face.
There's only one God, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very cavalier about meeting demigods and gods of the universe and been like, yep, I'm still a Christian.
There's only one God, ma'am.
Territorially, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's true. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of found that out in Love and Thunder.
Well, you saw that out in Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Hey, we saw two gods fighting.
Yeah.
casually.
Cool. Hey, gotta grab the popcorn.
I was just more flabbergasted about the little girl being like, "Are you a fucking superhero?" And the other woman was like, "Yes, I am now." And it's just like, yes, there's more women superheroes now than the one that just fell to earth.
Yeah, I guess I am now. Cool. Word.
Yeah, I'm just like, you got to assume like all the other characters just hung up their shit. Like, just like.
And I will have to say, her character, way cooler than Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I still do not like her series, which sucks because I like Kate Bishop. The new Hawkeye, she's cool
because she's planted in reality.
And I liked the female hero that was in Moon Knight. I forget her name. They only said it like once or twice right near the very end. Yeah, she was badass. Let's just do more with them and not Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel annoys the piss out of me. But we're not here to talk about that. In fact, let's go ahead and get on into our main topic. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking at the artwork for this show, done by the awesome David Hammer, by the way. Check him out on his Twitch. As always, linked in the episode description. But in the joys of Mike Judge kind of popping his head out from his fucking hole that he hangs out in for like a decade at a time. Like every 10 years, Mike Judge pops his head out and goes, hey, I got some stuff to show you. Yeah. Shows it off and then goes, oh, okay, bye. And then just disappears back in his hole for another fucking 10 years.
Into the road tour.
But it actually seems like he's loud and proud back in the public eye again, because we've been getting the rumors and confirmations now of the new King of the Hill series. Then we got the Beavis and Butthead movie that we discussed a few episodes ago. And now we're going to be discussing the new season that came out immediately after the movie on Paramount Plus. And apparently the show is getting really good reviews because it's already been confirmed for a season 2. And now these Paramount Plus exclusive episodes are now being aired on Comedy Central.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool. When I was looking up the episodes on Wikipedia, it was showing original release date and then original air date. And I'm like, oh, no shit. Now they're actually getting played on TV. So it did so well on streaming. They're bringing it to television and confirmed the season 2.
I think it's part of the Comedy Central, Paramount, CBS kind of thing. Because Paramount's kind of like an umbrella now for CBS, BET, Comedy Central, and a handful of other networks that are on television.
6 kitty companies run everything. Yeah.
But I can see them doing that because of the whole South Park thing, which hasn't come to a head yet, but it is part of. I bet it's part of that. Kind of like a give and take type situation. Like, hey, we're letting you use these guys to make your stupid fucking movies, so let's, give us Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, and honestly, think about the world we live in right now. You can turn on Comedy Central and watch new episodes of Beavis and Butthead and South Park. Is this the 90s all over again, like the mid-90s?
Yeah, but better.
Yeah. But, and honestly, man, exactly what you said. I think this series is better than the original. Yeah. Because I've gone back and rewatched a handful of the old episodes, and there are some classic old episodes. Favorite one still is the Cornholio episode where Beavis is getting all jacked up on Volt soda at their burger place. Cop comes in and he's just like, is that dude speaking Spanish? Is he legal? And it just turns into a big thing where he gets taken to customs and they're trying to figure out where is this guy from? Lick Titicaca, Nicaragua. Just this constant back and forth, and they're taking it so earnestly, and the cops genuinely care and want to get this possible illegal alien safely back across the borders, and Beavis is just giving them hell the entire time. Outside of a handful of those episodes, though, it's funny, but the main hook of it and what made it great were the music video segments in between.
Yeah, that's what Beavis and Butthead really was. It was a comments section before comment section.
It really was. And those old episodes, you don't get the commentaries anymore because of licensing agreements.
Yeah, but there are some. One of my favorite is the Anthrax video, and it's just Ian Scott bald with a long pointy beard.
Scott Ian, yeah,
Scott Ian. But he's just fucking banging his fucking head, and Beavis is like, damn, that guy's dad must have really kicked his ass.
Yes. And And kind of maybe it's the same kind of worries, when we heard about, the King of the Hill reboot is like, all right, Beavis and Butthead in 2022-23. How is that going to work? No one really does music videos anymore. And, people are a lot more sensitive to quote unquote bullying. And Beavis and Butthead were just kind of bullies toward these, musical acts, except if it was something they really liked, which was 1 out of 10 videos. So, what are they going to do? And then they mention, they're going to do reactions to other YouTube videos and TikToks and stuff. And that could have went south way fast. It's fucking perfect, though. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's brilliant.
Well, I think Mike Judge took a kind of a page out of what happened to his series during the time of the internet age. And it's just like, hey, man, did you ever see this? And like, you put it up on YouTube and showed your buddy, and then y'all talked about it. And then, like, what the fuck? And it's just like, this is terrible shit. And that's what Beavis and Butthead really were, was this guy's commenting on stuff. And granted, they are inept, dumber and shit. But I think it would have, in hindsight, yeah, it does work, but I think it would have, like, even if you were told me, like, this year Beavis and Butthead is like brand new Beavis and Butthead, like this season never existed, I'm just like, yeah, they would have been fine. Yeah. I think there wouldn't have been any controversy over it, because it's just two guys talking. Yeah, it always comes down to that. And as many YouTubers out there where it's just two people talking about something they heard, it is nothing. It is the Beavis and Butthead is the template for the reaction video.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but it's a cartoon. It's just Mike Judge telling people, like, look at this dumb shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, everything you just listed was kind of like independent works. Their own blogs, YouTubers, Twitch streamers.
Yeah, but that's all preambled by Beavis and Butthead.
Exactly, but that's also not the mainstream. That's not what's shown on, network television. That's what the niche audiences find on the internet. They're now bringing the internet commentary to 2022-23, and that was the thing I was worried about. I was like, are they all of a sudden going to get a little tame? Are the teeth going to be gone? Are they going to be afraid to bite? And no, not really. And I think it really comes down to, when you really think about the commentary and the biting humor they do, it's not too dissimilar to a South Park.
No.
Because South Park can get very bitey, very direct, and very bold, but it comes down to the writing. What are the characters saying? How are they saying it? And for something as stupid as a show as Beavis and Butthead, Mike Judge takes very careful consideration to write the jokes well. He sets them up well, and if the boys are going to say something completely idiotic, it's shown through the writing that they are dumb for thinking it. And I think it's just one of the things that kind of makes the series better, not just from a silly shit standpoint, but just the writing overall, because Mike Judge is a fucking king. But they kind of kicked it off strong with the debut episode being an escape room, where they're just having to get through a fucking escape room. But in essence, they get trapped in a bathroom. Yeah. They're playing with tampons and everything else and digging through the bathrooms, and eventually make their way out and then take a shit in the escape room.
It's no different than like what they could have done in an episode back in the day.
Yeah.
Instead of escape room, it could have been a laser tag place.
Yes.
Or like an arcade kind of place. You know what I'm saying? And the escape room part is the only modern thing in it. Mm-hmm. Everything else is just them being dumber and shit.
Yep.
And again, it's the cutaways that really make this.
Yes, because the two cutaways we had in this one was a lady named Mary Catherine being accepted.
Hello, Mary Catherine.
Being accepted into Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Princeton, Brown, and more. Yeah. And yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, because she opens up her Harvard one and it says she's accepted, and the mom's like giving her this huge hug, and she's like, yeah, choke her out.
Yeah. Give her a fucking stone cold stunner.
It's like, how you expect to get into college if you can't beat your own mom's ass?
And they're just like, I love the scream, because the scream is Butthead's like, Beavis Butthead's like, like freaking the fuck out too. Yeah. They're just fucking losing it. It's fucking perfect.
And then the second cutaway they had was for a TikToker named Skonvik. SCCONVICT, in which he is showing you how to make a prison tattoo using prison tattoo ink.
Which is soot from a crack a box. It's a weird southern accent that they're trying to pull off. It's just like it's a prison accent.
It's a prison accent, Chris.
It's a prison accent. What do you think he did to get in there? No, they just let his ass in.
They're like, you're going to commit a crime. Just go ahead and come on in.
Oh, crack a box. And that, me and you, when that first came out, me and you just fucking ran with that shit.
I'm telling you, dude. So again, the debut of this series was on, August 4th. On like August 6th, Chris and I were watching that part so many times and just laughing to ourselves. We were crying. Yeah. Like, it's honestly the hardest I've seen you laugh in a minute. Like, you were legit
because I wasn't expecting them to review TikTok videos or just like reels or something like that. So them doing that really tames it up a notch. Plus, TikToks are very short.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes into the music video. They also do a music video too later on.
Yes.
But the TikTok one just fucking blew me away.
It was great. Which, does lead into the part 2 of their episode, the special one. Definitely the weaker of the two. I definitely like the escape room better than the special one. Essentially, all it is it's a singular episode with Beavis.
Yeah, so this is kind of what I like about the new intro. It's a little bit more refined. We still get the wiggle lines and stuff, kind of like the old animators do. But the flourishes around the borders and stuff, and I do like every now and then a good single episode with one character, because we don't really know much about him other than they have the lesbian seagull teacher. Daria exists and she's chilling and like that's it. That's really all we know about him. Other than that, they just hang out and watch TV all day and go to school.
Yeah.
But I like this because we get to see like, hey, Beavis goes out on his own. Butthead does his own thing sometimes, and it can go south. Yeah, very quickly. And for he has a mental disorder, but even a flame talks to him.
Ever since he was 3, which 3-year-old Beavis is scary as shit.
He's short of the corn looking motherfucker.
And
the flame is trying to tell him to better himself.
Yes.
And it's just like, run a mile, read Faulkner.
Pick up the trash from the alleyway and put it in the recycling bin.
Yes. Yeah. Better yourself, Beavis, to make more fire.
And he's just like, no, this sucks. He fucking extinguishes the fire, goes inside. And then, the
other cutaway.
The other cutaway, probably my favorite, honestly. Episode 1 wound up having my favorite cutaway, and they do a commentary on a country artist named Cale Dodds. And it's a song called I Like Where This Is Going. Now, number one, I actually have listened to the song outside of the commentary. It's a garbage song. Like, it is just grade A plastic, just run-of-the-mill
cookie cutter country music.
Bro country. Like, it's legit bad. So, I appreciate them kind of ripping on this one a little bit. Folks, if you've not seen the video, it genuinely is kind of fucking weird. The Reader's Digest quick summary version of the video is there's this heavier set guy sitting at a table, tries getting a date. Cale Dodds comes on over, starts talking shit about the way he's dressed, goes back to that guy's place, is like, try on some clothes for me. And he's just like giving him thumbs up, thumbs down, teaching him how to text, how to move, how to dance, all this. Takes him back out to the club. He's waiting there night after night after night. At the very end, this old girl's just walking through the club, trips. He runs over there, saves her, grabs the martini glass. She looks at him, smile. Cale Dodds kind of looks at him, gives him a wink. Fucking end of the video. And it's essentially just pull yourself together, act confident, you'll get the chick. Fine, whatever. I appreciate the message.
The song hits differently if you play it with Goodbye Horses from Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Goodbye Horses. It's like, we were at Cale Dodds' house, and you happen to have clothes your size.
I know. I love that one aspect.
He just casually just walks up to this dude and like talks cash money shit to him.
Oh yeah,
and, like,
absolutely.
Let's go to your house and fix your ass up. That's fucking terrifying.
And Beavis and Butthead hit it right on the fucking head too. This is like his one point. Butthead's just like, yeah, he like paid for his dinner and told him to go back to his house and change clothes for him.
No such
He's
thing.
Grooming him.
Yeah, but he also says no such thing as a free dinner.
Yeah,
it's like,
the dinner may be free, but there's always a price to pay.
Yeah, it's just like, God damn. It's just like, you took a dark look at that real quick.
It's not like those high school PSA things that the health teacher would put on for you. He may be nice and sing you country music. He might even write you a song. He might even take you home and make you breakfast, but never accept a breakfast from Cale Dodds. But yeah, so if anything, that was a really good one, simply for the fact that the Kale Dodds video was fucking grade A. The following episode was Boxed In, and this one was actually rather humorous. Essentially, in Van Driesen's class, Beavis keeps turning on this power drill. It's going in the middle of the class, and it's where the writing comes into play and is really good, because just me saying that, it's like, okay, whatever. They push it to the extreme on the annoyance level, because every time Van Driesen's about to speak, Beavis turns that thing off. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to put it down now. I'm putting it down.
Guys, I'm trying to say...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Beavis.
Like, they do that 6 fucking times, and finally he walks over, grabs it from him, puts it in the desk. He's like, you can have this back at the end of the week. He goes, no, fuck that, and proceeds to try to steal it, and while sneaking back into the class, decides to get themselves trammed into a box to get snuck into the classroom, when in reality, the janitor, who's listening to heavy metal music, picks up the boxes, loads them up, and takes them downstairs, and now the entire episode is the 2 boys trapped in a box in the basement of the school.
Which is still like could have been an episode from back in the day.
It really could have been. And of course, there's a whole bunch of, back and forth of them bitching at each other. Your ass is in my face. No, your face is in my ass. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to kick your ass all through this box. They try getting out, then it squishes them. They don't get out until the very next week, when Van Driesen finally opens the box, thinking that they're the new school books. No more drawing mustaches and penises in the books class. Opens it up. It's the 2 of them, totally weary. And instead of going, hey, let's get some food, let's get some water, Beavis immediately walks right over to that desk, opens it up, pulls the drill out, into the fucking dry erase board. And the other cutaway in this one was an ASMR video.
Hello, how are you? And it is a point in time for this, because this would have freaked them out back in the day, because they're kind of weird anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's Bob Ross.
Yep.
You could have done this back in the day with Bob Ross, which would have been fucking awful.
Beavis and Butthead talking shit on Bob Ross.
Butthead talking shit about Bob Ross.
Yeah, Beavis would have liked it.
Beavis would have slipped into senility and just been like, yeah, fucking trees. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's a happy little tree.
the guy looks like an asshole. Fuck you, Butthead. I bet he fucks.
Look at his hair, though. It's cool.
It's cool. I bet he gets
like mine.
I bet he gets a lot of women. And guess what, kids? Bob Ross fucks.
Bob Ross
Watch
fucks.
the documentary.
And it's just a weird one.
And this was a double episode. Like, this is 2 episodes that came out the same day.
Yes. And the part 2 in this one was Beekeepers.
I fucking love Beekeepers.
I was going to say, this was the better one out of the 2. They show up to a farmer's market thinking that they could just destroy glass in the parking lot. And then they find out Van Driesen set up his own little booth at the farmer's market and selling his own fruits and vegetables. But his lady friend is selling honey for like fucking $20 a jar or some shit.
Yeah, that's how much it goes.
Yeah. And she's just like, oh, yeah, I mean...
She has an apiary and everything.
Yep, I just collect the honey and the bees do all the work. And all the boys here is, bugs do work, we get money. And they go home and proceed to go to old Hank Hill, his house.
Hank Hill 0.1.
Yes, Hank Hill 0.5. Mr. Anderson. They go over to his place, and he's just like,
goddamn wasp nest up in my garage.
And they're like, we'll take care of the bees, sir. Knock it down. And of course, they go through... Butthead and Beavis get stung like motherfuckers, taken inside the house. They're kicking the box, being like, make honey, you stupid motherfuckers.
It kind of reminds me of that Dale and Bill episode where they do the bee stings.
Yes.
Booth, and it just goes horribly wrong. And he's like, I've done it 25 times. You're going to die.
He's like, I can't feel my left arm.
Because you got bee venom in your goddamn blood, you son of a bitch.
And in the process of kicking the box around the house, they knock over a bottle of shampoo and realize that, the bees finally made honey. So they scoop the shampoo into the bottle, try selling it at the farmer's market. And of course, Van Driesen's like, no, boys, this isn't honey. This is shampoo. In which they still don't realize their mistakes. They're like, these stupid wasps made shampoo. They're supposed to make honey. They're dumb. They're worthless. And they bring it back home. They're like, well, what are we going to do? And they open the box back up and it's just full of fruits and vegetables. They're like, these stupid fucking bugs now made vegetables. Whatever. I was going to wash my hair at least since we had the shampoo. And cut back to Van Driesen with his lady friend and open it up, and a big old wasp nest is in their kitchen.
Yeah, wasps is one of those things I don't give a fuck about when it comes to like exterminating a whole thing of something. It's right up there with mosquitoes. And then when I was in school, I found out they have no ecological value. So I'm just like, yeah, burn them. Burn every fucking one of them to the ground.
A few episodes ago, we talked about bad movie and TV tropes. Do you think this is one?
What, bees?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Because bees and wasps are a pretty consistent trope of any kind.
When it comes to the bee ones, I think it's good because it's just about educating people, because it is true that a lot of the stuff they do show is true. I think getting attacked by fucking bugs is the trope. Really, this is always like spiders or fucking
ants,
fire ants. Give them to me, Bobby. They've been wanting me for 30 years.
Yeah,
but like, you know, like that's where that comes in. When it's a trope that's kind of exhausted.
Yeah. And the cutaway on this one was the boys reacting to another music video, this time Dynamite by BTS.
A K-pop group.
Yes.
And Beavis is down for the K-pop group.
Beavis loves his K-pop.
And he's like, that's Kevin. He don't take no shit.
He's just like, how do you know their names? He's like, I just hate them so much. I've learned their names. And then Butthead's like, you know what? I'm going to leave you to these guys. Come back when you're like normal again. Leaves. And as soon as he leaves, props to the animation department.
Yeah.
They did it just right. It wasn't over exaggerated, but it wasn't too subtle. Beavis just slowly starts bobbing his shoulders one by one to the beat, and it's so subtle and so fluid. I'm just like, yes, this is how I would imagine just Beavis sitting in his house listening to music, just
Yep.
It's like they're adding to the lore because they had the Beavis and Butthead dance where Beavis is doing like karate moves and Butthead's like humping the air. So it's like, now you got a new dance move. He's sitting on the couch, little
the occasional
shoulder.
like kicking the air.
Yes. So I dug that, and it was good because they kind of took the idea of skewering music videos, but kind of turned it on its head, where it's like Butthead the entire time was like, this is dumb, this really sucks, and Beavis is like, I don't know, Butthead, this isn't too bad.
But it kind of makes definitive stuff about the characters. It's like, yeah, Beavis has his own likes, Butthead has his own likes, and that's a big part of this whole season, was a lot about Beavis. We get a lot of side stuff about Beavis, especially in Doppelganger, which comes up later on.
Yes, that's a really good one. But before that one, Roof is in the next episode. A really great one, and I like this one because, as you were mentioning, a lot of these episodes kind of harken back to the original tone and attitude of the series. This felt like a very well-written old episode. The boys walk up to Mr. Anderson's house, and he's like, hey, boys, I got me a package coming from the Amazon. I was wanting to know if you two boys wouldn't mind bringing it in the house for me. That way them two rowdy boys, Bucktooth and Beaver, don't steal it. And it's like, yeah, I got my hearing aid, and you can't do nothing without that. And I got Mercy here, his new crystal bowl rather. You just gotta bring them in for me and just do that. Would you do it for me? Yeah. All right, well, I appreciate you. You boys are good, and unlike them Bucktooth and Beaver. And literally, as soon as he pulls away, what were we supposed to do? And like perfect timing, if Anderson had waited 5 seconds, Amazon truck drops off the two things. He's like, what are these for? Immediately throw the hearing aids in the trash, see the giant crystal bowl, and they're like, wow, this is beautiful. And Beavis is like, yeah, we gotta smash it. And Butthead's like, no, Beavis, we've got to do better than that. Look at this beautiful bowl, how big it is. Let's throw it from the roof.
And this, talk about tropes. This is a big trope, and not sitcom. Is getting stuck on the roof.
Get stuck on the roof.
Making repairs on the roof. This is straight out of like Home Improvement, like getting stuck on the fucking roof. And not just that. I kept imagining like stuff like Family Matters, where they're trying to change a satellite dish or some stupid shit.
Yeah.
But that is just fucking hilarious. The ladder falls and now they're just stuck up there.
Yep.
And I'm just like, you're 2 stories up. It's not great, but I think you'd be okay. Like,
well,
logistically,
you are Butthead in this scenario, because he turns to Beavis and he's like, "You knocked the ladder down. Well, go down there and get it, dumbass." Oh, actually, no. First, they don't even make it up the. That's what it was. So they're like, "Let's go get Anderson's ladder." So he does that. Butthead climbs all the way up, and he's just like, "All right, come on up with the bowl." So Beavis is like holding the bowl and like looking at the ladder, like puts his foot on it, trying to finagle. You see him kind of struggling, and cuts back up to Butthead's POV, and you see Beavis finishing climbing up. He's just like, "Where's the bowl?" He's like, "Oh, it's down there. First, I was gonna climb the ladder since it was kind of hard to climb without it. Then I was gonna go back and get the bowl." It's like, "No, you idiot. Go down there and get it now. You're supposed to bring it up." And like through them fighting, the ladder falls. And he's just like, "Well, go down there and get that ladder, Beavis." Knocks his ass down there. Then he gets amnesia. And he starts... That's when some of the best jokes of the episode come in, because he falls, hits his head, and he's just like, "Whoa, who am I? Who are you?" He's just like, "Go down there and get the bowl, fart knocker." He's just like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "What's a bowl?" and then starts calling Butthead by like his other names. It's just like, "No, I'm fart knocker. You're asshole." But it's just, I like that one because there was just a lot of good back and forth and just silliness between them. And the video they commented on with this one was Post Malone's Circles, and I don't remember much in that one other than it seemed like he commented on like Post Malone seeming like he would stink or something along the lines, or like, and he's like the dishwasher in our local pub or some shit.
Yeah, he works in the back.
Yeah. So not much on the commentary, but the actual episode itself, in my opinion, kind of held it and made the cutaway not as important. Same thing with River. Another really great one where Beavis and Butthead realized that chicks like boats, so they wanted to get on the river and said that they had a boat so they could go get the chicks. And it's just the entire time them floating down a river and the stupid bullshit that happens to them on the way down, including Beavis getting his mouth hooked by a fishing line, which I don't know about you, but those are the things in TV shows and movies that make my butthole cinch up. Like, I can watch someone's head getting blown off. I can watch someone's foot getting cut off. Whatever. It's the little shit. Someone bends their fingernail backward. Someone stubs their toe really fucking hard. Or like that one where the fishing hook just goes through his fucking cheek. Dude, those are the moments that just make me wince so fucking hard.
I had somebody get a fish hook in my hand one time on the top of my hand.
Ow! Fuck that, dude.
And because I was sitting behind him and had my back turned, and he went to go back, and I had moved when he went back, and it got stuck in my hand, and he pulled, and I was just like, "Motherfucker!"
No.
I've been fingernails back all the time. I try to keep them short, but when I was doing wiring and stuff, my fingernail would bend back. Yeah. But this one kind of reminds me of the Bill Boomhauer and Dale on the river.
Yeah.
This is like the long version of that before they end up in the mental asylum.
Yes. Yeah, because essentially that's what happens. They're just floating on a log down the river, and the entire time, the only motive is we hear the chicks up ahead. Let's keep paddling. That's all the episode is.
And they slowly end up in the ocean.
Yeah, they end up in the ocean. They think they see the boat up ahead, and Butthead's like, I got to start working out again. Starts doing these push-ups and shit as they get banned from the pool initially. And then, yeah, so in the middle of all that, he's like, "Yeah, it's probably a small boat, Beavis. There's probably not going to be any room for you, just me and all the girls, so we're going to leave you behind." And he's just like, no, it's really small, Butthead. Like, it's literally a model boat." And that's kind of how they end the episode. They didn't end it with any sort of good resolution other than just, "Yeah, Butthead, that's not going to work."
I just toss that up to one of the multiverse versions of Beavis and Butthead, and this is one where they die.
And another really good one. So River may have not been as funny, but the new enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking fantastic. In which they realize a bear, aka raccoon, is stealing their nachos, and the entire episode is them trying to catch the bear so they can kill it. And they are not successful. And I think honestly, what just made me laugh about it the entire time is they consistently called the raccoon a bear. Yeah. For some reason, people calling animals by the wrong names make me laugh so hard. It's like that fucking viral video that was popular a few years ago with all the ducks in the yard, and pans over to that fucking kid and he goes, "Look at all those chickens." That video made me laugh so fucking hard, and this has the same energy. Whoa! Butthead, look, a bear. It's like it has that same energy, and I love it. It
reminds me of those ones. Hey, Ma! And there's like two giant moose, mooses, fighting in a residential neighborhood, and it's that guy from like Long Island. Ma, there's these two deer out here. It's just like, no, Ma, those are fucking megafauna biting the shit out of each other. Might as well be a goddamn dinosaur.
And I also love how they decide that what they're going to do is instead they want a bear trap, because they're like, well, how do we catch a bear? We get a bear trap. They don't have a bear trap, but they fill up this kiddie pool full of like industrial glue and sprinkle nachos on it. And the fish, like goldfish bowl brains of theirs, as soon as they sit down laying the trap, Butthead goes, "I'm hungry. Why don't you go in there and get us some nachos, Beavis?" He's just like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, we're out of nachos." He's like, "Get some from the other thing." And as soon as he reaches in, he gets stuck. Then Butthead gets stuck. And then it's them walking through the neighborhood as this like mutant swimming pool nacho glue mess.
And it kind of turns into like a turtle.
Yes.
trying to move.
And Mr. Anderson, while seeing that up ahead, drinking his nightly beer in the alleyway, Hank Hill 0.5, sees that up ahead, goes, "I think that's a bear." And sprays them with bear mace.
Because he can't see.
Can't hear either because he doesn't have his fucking hearing aids. And the cutaways in this one, you actually get two of them. The Camellia Cabello Don't Go Yet, which was a music video. Yeah. And I think this one was the one where he was really pissed off about firemen.
Yeah, because there's like fire in the background. And there's like neon lighting.
Yeah,
that's streaking across, and he's just like, "Where's the goddamn fireman?"
Well, he's just like, "I don't like firemen. They're bullshit." And Beavis and Butthead's like, "Why? Like, what did firemen ever do to you?" He goes, "They're bullshit. They don't even start fires."
Yeah.
He's like, "I was mad when I was young. I started a fire, and they called the firemen. And I'm like, whoa, this is cool. It's a bigger fire. And guess what they had? Take a wild guess." Water! They had water! And just like loses his fucking mind. He's just like, fuck firemen and fuck their water. Yeah. And the other one that the other cutaway they had was a YouTube Institute of Human Anatomy of Will a Cow's Eye Bounce.
Yes. So they actually have an actual cow's eye. And it's one of those like... what is this? I'm trying to remember the trick shot guys. This is what it seemed like, a trick shot thing. But no, they were just talking about the anatomy of it, and they're just casually just watching it. They're not really saying much. And it's just like, yeah, that's what you do. You don't really say much on that.
Yeah, they're like, this is weird.
Yep.
This is a little weird. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. They just move on. And the following clip was the Doppelganger. Yes. Another Beavis solo episode.
Yeah, he meets a guy who looks like Butthead from behind.
Yes. And it actually is pretty interesting.
He's that guy who's like super friendly.
Yeah.
To the point where you can't escape the conversation, and as socially fucked up as Beavis is, he cannot get out of this. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, that's real cool. Hey, yeah, we'll go. Yeah, I'll drop you off as soon as let's head over here real quick before we go." And it was always, "Hey, let's head over here first, or let's head over here first." It's like shopping with a fucking maniac. He's just like, "No, we got to stop here first." And well, let's see what they got. And it's just like, I had a plan today, and you ruined it.
Hey, man, you seem to really like heavy metal, right? You like Metallica? Cool, let's go to the guitar store. It's like,
he's like, I wrote this song.
Yeah, he's like, it's called Exit Sandman. Yeah. You want to hear it? Come on, bro. I know you want to hear it. Let's jam. Let's jam. You've got that total metal voice, dude. Sing along with me. Exit night. Enter light. Yeah. We're off to forever Everland.
Yeah, he's like just the douchiest motherfucker, and it kind of makes Beavis be like, "Hey, Butthead's okay."
He's just like, no, call me. No, actually, that's the next one where he gets really fucking mad at him. But yeah, he gets back home and he's just like, what sold him the entire time he was so pissed off. He's like, no, I want to meet my friend. I need to go to the Quickie Mart. Stop fucking around. I'm ready to go. You're being annoying. He's just like, all right, man. Yeah, I totally feel you. Let's just go. You're right, man. Let's just go. Let's go. He's like, yeah, let's go. And finally, he drops him off, leaves him. He's just like, all right, bro. I really appreciate you hanging out with me today. We got to do it tomorrow. Fist bump. He's like, what? He's like, come on, dude. Fist bump. He's like, I don't know. He's like, come on, bro. You know what a fist bump is. It makes him like fist bump. He's like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Goes home to Butthead, who's immediately accosting him. Where the fuck were you, fart knocker? He's like, what? I met this really cool guy and he showed me like this really cool handshake. And he's like, and he goes to do it and you see Butthead just like rearing back to punch him. He's like, oh, cool. You already know it. Whack. And again, it's the writing in the show. It's like the whack timing of it was perfect. And the cutaway on that one was a TikTok of this chick Heidi Lavon called "How to Shake Your Meat."
Yes.
In which they just devolved into just singing about beating your meat.
Yep.
Beat your meat. Beat your meat. And I wish I could remember the breakdown Beavis digs. He's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, beat your meat on the dance floor. Beat your meat. Beat your meat. 5, 6, 7, 8. It started doing like cheerleader things with that, just singing along to beating your meat. I know someone in the Discord is probably just going to be like, yeah, it was this, you idiot. They're actually parodying a song. Or were they actually? I thought they were actually singing a song.
No, they were singing a song.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, though. Oh, well. And on here, it doesn't have it, so it doesn't matter. The next episode answers, what happens if Butthead were to get medicated?
Or no, if he was supposed to take his actual medication, because he never does.
Yeah. But he gets, so it opens up in the counselor's office. He's just beating the shit out of Beavis. And they're just like, yeah, you got to work on your anger management. But it's like, yeah, Beavis, work on your anger. Gives him his pills, his happy pills, essentially. And all of a sudden turns into like this goody two shoes, like little bitch boy.
Well, the thing is, he takes like a whole day's worth.
Yes.
Or month's worth almost, because he's just downing these fucking pills.
Eating them like snacks.
Yeah, and what the fuck? Like, it's basically Ritalin.
Yeah. And
like, it zones him the fuck in. And you think about this, it's like, yeah, he would have just became that dude that he met earlier. yeah, man, we'll go as soon as I do this.
Yeah. And he's like starting to be nice to Van Driessen and everything. He's like, no, Beavis, Van Driessen's trying very hard to teach us. The least we could do is show him the respect he deserves.
And Beavis just fucking loses.
He's like, no, stop it. Call me an asshole. He goes, why do you want me to do that? Is there something bothering you, Beavis? You know I'm always here for you, buddy. I'm your friend.
Because that Stockholm syndrome is, hit in, and it's just like, no, abuse me, you piece of shit.
Yeah. And essentially it's just like, no, I'm going to kick your ass, Butthead, and just starts beating him up. And eventually he does something, like he punches him in the stomach hard enough that like he starts puking up all the pills. And he looks at him, he's like, Beavis, you fucking asshole, I'm gonna beat your ass until you can't sit. And like the biggest smile grows on Beavis's face as he's like just starts wailing on him. He's like, yeah, he's back. Which also does, again, good writing, kind of show they kind of fucked up relationship that Beavis and Butthead have together. Like, Beavis is very codependent on the Stockholm abuse that he's getting from Butthead. And Butthead just sees himself as the highest alpha superior, where Beavis may actually be a little bit smarter than Butthead realizes. And the cutaway on this one was Alyssa's Animal Sanctuary. And I honestly don't remember what they talked about on that one. I think they just kind of went off and just kind of started talking shit on something random that didn't really account to anything. And I was kind of hoping they were going to do more of these for this next episode. It's called Home Aid, in which it actually opens with Smart Beavis and Smart Butthead that we saw from the movie. And they go, greetings, Earthlings. I am Smart Beavis and Smart Butthead. what were to happen if our heroes never went to SpaceX program and got launched into the current year of 2022? What if they lived their lives normally throughout the 90s? What would they be today? Let's find out. And you find out they're just fat fucks that just live in a rundown shitty apartment in the middle of Highlands, and Butthead siphons off the government.
Yeah, well, they both do.
Yeah,
and that's the whole point of this one, is because it's homemade. So they collect a check of some sort. Well, eventually it runs out because Beavis, it's some version of unemployment.
Yeah,
and so Beavis would have probably these odd jobs and get let go, and would collect unemployment. Well, he's the breadwinner of that place because Butthead probably gets disability or some stupid shit. And
he's in a scooter.
Yeah. So they force it. He's forced to go work for people who can't work.
Yeah,
and he's tasked to take care of Butthead.
It's gonna help with your self-esteem. My self-esteem. My self-esteem.
And it all came out to because he had to run out and get beer money.
Yeah, that's all it was. They ran out of beer money. And it's just like, sell more blood. He's like, no. They told me I couldn't last time.
Well, it's just like another part of this was, he had to come in and clean his house.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't move that pizza box. That's a good pizza box. Don't do that. No, don't do that.
You'll call me Mr. Butthead. He's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, yeah, then I'm going to get you fired. And both of us aren't going to get money. I'm doing this for us. Yeah. It's like, no, you're not, you abusive prick. And so this is more or less a day in the life episode of how horrible they're treating each other even after all these years. And you got videos for JoJo called Worst, and a YouTube cutaway from Stargirl and the Practical Witch, in which they consistently just make fun of this girl for thinking that she can do magic through television.
Well, it's like an ASMR video, but it's just like talking about crystals and shit like that, and tarot cards.
It's like, this girl's dumb.
Yeah.
And I really don't remember anything they had to say about the JoJo video, to be completely honest. Virtual Stupidity, though, the next episode, pretty fucking good. They see a virtual reality headset in the mall, decide they want to try it, but instead of actually putting on a virtual reality headset, they just put on sunglasses. Yep. And proceed to walk through the mall, terrorizing everyone and everything.
Yeah, and just fuck shit up. This reminds me of Butters when he does the virtual reality with Cartman, and Cartman creates I got the new Oculus, and he's like, oh my God, it's so real. Hey, Dad, wham! Oh my God, the virtual reality is so real. I felt like I could feel his balls
against my fist. No, and that's very much the energy this episode had, going through the mall. And my favorite bit, this is what made me and my girl bust out laughing again rewatching the episodes, where they're like, hey, let's walk up to that guy, maybe he'll give us a side quest. And it's like this guy like serving samples or like giving away samples at the soap store, and he walks up, he's like, hello gentlemen, would you like to try some new soaps? He's like, no, but give us a mission to kill someone. He's just like, I don't know what you mean, but these soaps are a nice fine. And Butthead just goes, on, how do you skip this conversation? He's like, excuse me? And they're like just waving their hands in front of his face. He's like, skip. I'm just like, oh my God, I wish I could do that in real life. Like, just wrap up this conversation. Skip.
Just get really high one day, go to the milestone and do that to somebody.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you poking me in the chest? I'm trying to skip this conversation.
Trying to skip the dialogue. Let's just get back to the mission. And then they decide, oh yeah, we're in like they decide that they figure out they leveled up because they went upstairs in the mall, and they're like, what level are we on anyway? Well, it says here we're on level 2. So we've leveled up. I think we could actually hijack a car. So they go to steal a car, get themselves in the fucking hospital. Oh yeah, and they're like, we've gone too far. How do we restart this level? We've messed up too much. Like, oh, we just have to die. They're literally throwing themselves into ongoing traffic. Just imagine you're driving through a parking lot and you see these two teenagers throwing themselves in front of your fucking car to be hit. As you're getting out of the car, worried about one kid, one that's been hit already is crawling himself up to your car and smashing his head in with your car door.
Well, it kind of reminds me of that kind of situation from Tucker and Dale. Well, officer, you won't believe this. These kids are trying to commit suicide on my property. He just threw himself an old Woody over here. He threw himself in front of my car. You won't believe.
And then they wake up in the hospital, put the sunglasses back on, see that same guy, and decide they're going to whip his ass. End of episode. And again, that's just what's also been really nice about these is they really do just feel like the classic shit. Like, this is, if you know what, if virtual reality had been around in the 90s, this would have been an episode. And the cutaways on this one was voice lessons on how to get a smooth voice, which you kind of find out that Beavis kind of has a singing voice. You're learning more and more about the boys. It's like, wonder if at some point there would be an episode where Beavis tries to start a band. Where he's like actually the only talented one. Like he's only singing and it's in cornholio mode. He starts like a death metal band.
Kind of like a Timmy from South Park.
Yeah.
Timmy in the Lords of the Underworld.
Yes. See, look, man, you need to get on the writing staff. We like that. And then the following episode is Locked Out, in which
you get locked out of the house.
And so eloquently put by Beavis, Bud has asked him, why can't we get inside? He's like, oh, I locked the door. He's like, why did you do that? He's like, well, there's usually someone here, and we just gotta knock. Someone's gonna let us in. He goes, we're both out here, dumbass. He goes, oh, you're right. And he's like, so where's the key? He's like, oh, I left it inside.
Which is funny is because, like, I always kind of wonder, like, how they could be locked outside where the windows are always open. Are always fucking
one open. Is always broken open.
Yeah, it's always open, and there's always duct tape or some shit around the rim.
Which actually is wound up being their first idea, was just break a window and jump on in. And which I love my girl because she tries to think past the boys, and I'm like, no, you're thinking too smart. You can't think that smart. They break the window. Butthead's forcing Beavis to go in, and you've got that really tall shard that's about to cut him in the nads. And she goes, well, why don't they just kick that piece of glass in? I'm like, no, babe, you don't understand. That's just how it is. If it's there, they can't change it.
If they were smart enough to do that, they wouldn't have locked themselves outside.
Yes. So their forethought is not there to kick down the extra little piece of glass, is for it to not cut them in the balls. But instead, both proceed to get cut in the balls. And of course, Butthead gets cut in the balls because he's like, dumbass, you're not doing it right. Do it like this. And the big wrap up to this is they lie to Mr. Anderson and tell them that someone's ran off with his garden hose or his rake or something. He gets in his truck to drive off as he tries to wrap the chain around the front of the doorknob. And he goes, put this around the handle. He does not put it around the handle, thinks he doesn't have enough room to reach the handle because he's run around a tree with it twice, and goes, well, this is a handle, and puts it on the water hose spigot. So Anderson goes driving off, which, by the way, props to fucking Chevy and these fucking, or the Ford or whatever the fuck truck he's got. That thing ripped the tree out from the ground and ripped an entire goddamn wall off their house. In which they go, this actually looks cooler. This is badass. And sit on their couch with water just going everywhere as Anderson gets pulled over by the cops.
In a condemned house.
That the government helped put back together exactly the way it was to keep them silent about interdimensional travel. Mike Judge has done a lot for this show over the last few years, guys. He's put a lot of lore and world building into a few episodes. And with this one, the cutaway was Tones and I, Cloudy Day. And yeah, in which Butthead just proceeds to explain why he thinks it's a very dumb video, and Beavis actually enjoys it again. Yeah.
He has his own taste.
He has his own taste outside of Butthead and his ignorance. The next episode wound up being a pretty interesting one because it's the very first time we see someone from the old cast outside of Van Driesen and the neighbor Anderson show up. With Kidney, you get a glimpse into old Beavis and old Butthead again, and you get to see what's his head, old Stewart. And they find out that Stewart is willing to donate a kidney so that Beavis can live.
Still wearing a winger shirt.
Still wearing a winger shirt.
Stuart Stevenson.
Yes. And the boys still could not give a fuck about Stuart. Stuart's literally trying to lay his life on the line for these guys.
So this is a weird trope that I take personally because I had a kidney transplant.
Yes.
I lost a kidney.
Speak on.
In the King of the Hill episode where they get Dale's kidney because for some reason they sign off on it on like a power of attorney kind of thing, which is not what that is a part of. The fact that if you needed a kidney, right, and I said, yeah, I could donate a kidney to you. Yeah, that's great and all. Dude, that takes a lot of fucking testing to make sure that shit matches up right. On the off chance the blood type's the same, cool. That's fantastic. Mine is like less than 10% of the planet on blood type. So I had to wait a long time.
Type 0.
Type O negative. That's literally, that's my blood type O negative.
Nice. I know that's what the band was named after, but like to actually have
their
that
cover
blood
of
type.
Summer Breeze is fantastic because I had that album. but no, so like that's just one thing. There's like 7 other markers you got to do, and that takes time. A lot of goddamn, even on like the emergency end, which they wouldn't have done that for Butthead. First of all, old Beavis. Old Beavis.
Yeah.
He had to hold his bladder, and both his kidneys just exploded.
Yep.
That's not what happens. Fun fact, if you hold your piss in, you're just going to piss. You're literally just going to piss yourself.
Yeah, because the entire time Butthead's just like, you're not going to pee. He's like, no, I'm not. He's like, yeah, you are. You're going to piss yourself. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to hold it.
They're both holding it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, first of all, old Beavis drinks beer, eats nothing but pizza, and smokes. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, we'll get you on the table as soon as possible. They're like, no, motherfucker, you're going to be on dialysis. Period.
You fucked yourself up.
You fucked yourself up. And the fact that Winger here was able to give him a kidney is both astonishing and ridiculous because the way Winger looks, he's a little obese, he's a lot older, and they're not going to take they wouldn't take his fucking kidney to begin with because he probably developed hardcore, if not, he already had diabetes.
Yeah.
So like they're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like this, like that's another trope, but it's like very rare trope and stuff that I see. I'm just like, y'all didn't talk to anybody about this. Y'all just went fucking balls out. Like people can replace kidneys like batteries.
But the great thing about it is like after that though, Stuart finally gets his finally gets his moment because it's like constantly Beavis and Butthead have been giving him shit his entire life. Now he gets to hold over Beavis being like, we're blood brothers. We share. I am inside you now, Beavis.
Yeah, some weird Stewart shit.
It's just like we are together forever, and Beavis is like, oh fuck, no, we're not. In which he proceeds. Let's see. The synopsis says he mentions to Beavis he can't drink due to the surgery, and Beavis goes fuck you and chugs a bottle of wine, causing his kidney to burst once again, and telling him that his kidney sucked and It's that's because like it sucked. And shocked Stewart's just like I can barely read this. The sentence is structured weird. It says, and takes the clip off his song that he was holding to go pee, and shocked Stewart asks if anyone cool can give them a kidney, and then end of phase. And they did Tyler the Creator See You Again as a cutaway.
That's over. When he rips out the fucking catheter.
Yeah.
I'm just like, first of all, that's damn near impossible. A little anatomy lesson after this show, I'll tell you about. But like, god damn, how dumb. This reminds me of, like I said, it reminds me of the King of the Hill episode where Dale gives his kidney to John Force, the fucking driver, and he's like, oh, he likes 1 can of Mountain Dew a day. It's like, first of all, if you get a kidney, you don't fucking drink Mountain Dew. That shit's fucking terrible for you. That shit'll give you kidney stones.
I never even liked Mountain Dew. Like it was nasty.
I did. They changed the flavor. That's why I like Surge. Mellow Yellow.
And the next episode, not a lot happens. The good deed. Essentially, Beavis and Butthead try to do a good deed by replacing the punch for the school dance with insect repellent, as they think it's an aphrodisiac.
Yep.
So they're just trying to get everyone laid, and they end up
causing a school-wide chemical poisoning.
Yeah. Yeah. So not too much happened in that episode.
Yeah, later in there's not much going on.
Yeah, in the middle of the season, not much happened. The videos was a fall asleep story with a male voice, and of course they go right the fuck to sleep. And video by Benet featuring Gus Dapperton. I don't even remember that video. The next episode, though, was pretty good. Two stupid men, middle-aged Beavis and Butthead, fulfill their civic duties as jurors, and which is basically the plot of two angry men, but with Beavis and Butthead. The entire time, they're not agreeing with anyone.
They're just as bad as Bill Dauterive.
Yes.
Because to quote Bill Dauterive, we did our civic duty and gave that man the death penalty. And Hank's first response is, "That's not your duty. Your duty is to find him guilty or not guilty."
Oh.
Well, he's dead. Did you look at the evidence, you fuck?
But I love how the entire time, out of sheer ignorance, they're just like, yeah, not guilty. Yeah, guilty. But wound up being right, like the entire time. And even that one girl's like, "Oh my God, they were right the whole time. It's a good thing we had them on this team." Like they always wind up getting such praise for being ignorant. And the videos on this one was Cardi B's WAP, and Zip Tied to a Tree by YouTuber Nicholas, spelled Nichellelaus. Nicholas. But yeah, no, I remember that one being one of the better one from the middle of the season.
They're doing the rap video. It's fucking hilarious. I was waiting for them to do that one because that's like the biggest one of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, fuck it up.
And then following that one, you had Freaky Friday, where Beavis and Butthead mistakenly think that they have switched bodies after getting beaten up.
They just look at each other and think of total fucking stereotypes. That's all they do.
Yes.
And it's fucking hilarious.
They were talking shit in the Quickie Mart. This guy comes up, fucking bashes their heads together, but in the process, the door of the the refrigerator door is open, so they think they're looking in a mirror when they both stand up and look at each other through the glass, and proceed to just immediately start roasting each other by acting like one another, wearing each other's clothes, everything else. And it's honestly just a good episode of just the stupidity that they'll do. And on this, the video they had with this one was Olivia Rodrigo, called Driver's License, in which I think they proceed to talk about how they could never get their driver's license.
I haven't seen them on Comedy Central yet, but I'm curious if they've left that content in there.
That would be interesting.
Because, Paramount probably owns it in perpetuity just because it's, streaming content. But I'm kind of curious if they've actually have it on the episode or they just cut it out.
That is interesting. I'd be curious on that. And with the next episode, they actually kind of turn the tables on the boys.
This is a fun episode.
Yes, called Weird Girl, in which this time Beavis actually has a crush, but he's not the one giving the crush. There's a girl crushing on him, and
she will do anything for Beavis.
Yes, and Beavis does not want a part of her.
Yeah, and she burns the goddamn school down.
Yeah, because she found out that he likes fire.
Yeah.
So she's going to burn it. Her name wound up being Glynis. And yeah, she was just the typical weird little girl. And at the very end, she even fogs up the police car window and writes, "I heart you" in the window.
And it goes right over his goddamn head.
Yep, Butthead then misinterprets her heart as a butt, and this time mistakes the U for a head, so he and Beavis thinks that she wants Butthead. So, and then Butthead's complaining. He's like, he could have scored with her, but claims he isn't bothered since there's so many other chicks that want him, and no chicks want Beavis because he's a weirdo, constantly cutting the old boy down. And for the video in this one is a YouTube clip from MTV's How Far Is Tattoo Far? That show is fucking insane if folks have not seen it. We could do an entire episode on How Far Is Tattoo Far. I don't know how much of it is staged. I don't know how much of it is fake, but it is the weirdest fucking show I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's probably just a combination of both. It's just like, hey, we're going to pay you money to come on the show to get a weird tattoo, and you're going to,
It's like Jerry Springer with tattoos.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
No.
And this next one is called Time Travelers, in which they cross back and forth across the state line into the Mountain Time Zone and think they're traveling through time. I giggled at this one because I do this.
Yeah.
I do this. When I transfer over into a different time zone, I'm like, whoa, we travel time, dudes. So for the fact that they think that they could immediately transfer time just by going over the time zone is just a very whimsical and just nice episode.
And like, this is it's a stupid plot hole. But like, they had to drive a fuck ton to go through Mountain Time. They live in Texas.
Yes.
We've established that.
Yeah.
They were able to get on a log or a little boat on a river that bleeds into the ocean. Southeast Texas, there's Corpus Christi, Houston. To go through mountain time zones from the southeast coast of Texas to meet that is like 400 miles.
Yeah, because Van Driesen's class is on a field trip to the west, as he explains to them, as they
400 miles away.
Yeah, and they pass a nearby state line, which is Mountain Time Zone, which is 1 hour from their own, 1 hour off of their own. Beavis and Butthead asks if that means that they can time travel, and despite Van Driesen clarifying it's just a time zone change, they think that it is time travel. They immediately split from the class and go to a road sign and walks into the gas station, grabs some hot dogs, proceed to walk out. While they're eating it, the convenience store owner tells them they have to pay. Butthead explains they're from the past, but will pay him in the future when they have money.
And they go to the sign fall. First of all, they fall into like a ravine.
Yes.
Pick themselves up and walk back toward the gas station. And there's like I think it was like two women or something like that. And when they return, there's like two women and two guys. And it's just like, we've gone too far. They think that those two women they left behind got married.
Yes. But yeah, it is good though. It's just a constant. They're just walking in a circle and different shit happening each time, thinking they're jumping dimensions in different time zones. The videos they comment on this one was Jacob Sartorius Chapstick. Don't remember that. And then the other one was Diving with Bull Sharks, a YouTube clip. Then the following episode was Spiritual Journey.
This was actually a whole episode. This was no two parts. This is straight up one episode where they found the Jesus nacho.
Yes, Beavis sees the face of Jesus in a nacho chip and setting him on an epic journey to seek the answers of the big question, which is, why do I never score? And yeah, I mean, it honestly is just kind of a big back and forth and this, that, and the other. And Beavis asks a rabbi and asks him to tell him the story of Iron Man. And the rabbi begins recapping the entire story of Tony Stark, much to Beavis's chagrin. Yeah, so it's honestly just a very weird episode, but again, it's not a two-parter. Like, they take up the entire 20 minutes to do this episode. I'm not even seeing... Oh, yeah, they do quite a couple videos in this one. I think honestly the best one, though, is the YouTube clip of the New Zealand girl eating 10 Big Macs.
Yeah, they're watching a mukbang.
Yes.
Which are weird videos to begin with. You know, you like what you like. But, like, I had heard about this, like, 4 years ago.
Right. What that was.
And I'm just like, that's a thing? And then, you know, quickly, within, like, the span of a millisecond, I'm like, of course it fucking is. Like, well, it's people who eat large amounts of food, and people just like watch it. It's like an ASMR video, or like a Bob Ross painting. It's just like, that's their thing. That it's so fucking. It's called sensual eating. That's what it means.
It's so weird.
Yeah, a mukbang.
No, thank you.
Hey, you like what you like.
And
no judgment here, except Alex. He kink shames like a motherfucker.
I will kink shame you.
Yeah.
Weirdo. But the good PS to this one, though, is at the very end, they're eating nachos outside the Maxi Mart again. And as Butthead is eating, he sees a chip that has Satan on it. Immediately ignores it and just eats it.
Yep.
He's like, nope. The next episode was called Refuse Service. And
this is kind of a callback to the Cornholio episode.
Yep. They're working back at Burger World again, and they just decide that they're just not going to serve anyone.
Well, they found out they can refuse service.
Yep. And they just refuse service to literally everyone. They're like, no. And the whole episode is just him telling them no, because he's creating a work environment that he's not happy with. But he doesn't clarify that he's not happy with. All he says is, you're creating a work environment. Which is supposed to be an unsafe work environment, but he's like, no, you're just creating a work environment, and we don't like this. Yep. And then eventually their bosses show up and tell them that they have to do their job and say their job sucks and leave as police arrive to the scene. Skirting all responsibilities once again.
Leaving someone else to hold the bag.
The manager, boss man, yes, once again. Olivia Rodrigo's video, Good For You, is in this, along with a YouTube video of unboxing human skulls.
Yeah, they're kind of hitting like that weird niche of what they would have missed, like unboxing videos, eating videos, or something, some kind of like how-to video and stuff like that. Just random shit you find on YouTube during like a scroll through some weird algorithm thing. I want to be there. I would love to have been a fly on the wall in the conference room when they're just like trying to pitch which one they're going to watch.
Yeah.
Because they had to blow through like hundreds of these.
Oh my God, dude, absolutely.
Or like music videos, or hey, which ones are we allowed to do? Which songs, which music videos are we allowed to cover? Should we do like a variety of rap and country and rock? Because I don't remember any rock ones. No. But it was just like, what's popular now? And it was like BTS or, Korean boy bands and stuff like that. And crack a box. Some soot.
And the next one is a brilliant episode called Downward Dumbass, in which Beavis decides to try on some yoga pants, which immediately is so compressing upon his junk, he can no longer feel his junk, and when he looks in the mirror, cannot see his junk, thus has concluded his junk is now missing. And cannot get the yoga pants off.
This is one of those weird like clothing tropes where it's just like, I can't get this goddamn bracelet off, or I can't get this fucking jacket off. I remember there's actually a YouTube video of a girl who put on like, I want to say like 30 shirts, and she starts to panic because she can't get the shirts off, and they have someone try to help her and they can't get the fucking shirt off.
Oh my God, no.
And they were like expensive like Abercrombie shirts, and she's like, they were just stacked on top of each other, and she's like, it's getting really hot,
I'm getting anxiety just thinking about that.
But like her arms got stuck, kind of like in a Christmas Story with the little boy in the jacket.
Yeah,
she just got stuck, and then like she can't move her arms, so now she can't take the shirt off. And like panic sets in because it's like, oh, this is also gonna be a joke, and I'm just like, you're gonna die in those shirts. You're gonna die because of a prank.
And the very next episode, because there wasn't any cutaways in this one, but the very next episode was The Most Dangerous Game, in which Beavis and Butthead try to make each other pee their pants by putting their hands in warm water.
First of all, the title alone, Most Dangerous Game.
Yes.
Which is about a man hunting another man. And this is what they attribute it to, was just like,
who's going to go to sleep first?
Yeah, this whole like, I'm not going to blink, stare down, and it's just like, no, you're gonna piss first. And it's just like, God damn it, like this is people use this title a little too much, but damn it fucking fits.
Yeah, they literally just find out that you can prank someone else by putting their hand in warm water if they're asleep and make them piss themselves, in which they immediately claim they're gonna do that to each other, and then realize, well, that can't happen if we can't go to sleep, motherfucker. So the entire episode is them just trying to keep themselves awake at home, at school, everywhere. And as soon as one slowly starts falling asleep, you see the other one just a bowl appear out of nowhere, and he's just slowly about to put his hand in it. Oh, damn it!
I've never heard of anyone doing this. But,
no,
but it's like one of those like wives'
trope.
Yeah, it's a trope. But it's just like that's the thing, and all I could think of was like that and the punching someone on a person's right side below the pec, right around the abdomen, to make them throw up. And it's just like, that's real. That's straight up real. But like the bowl, the hand in the water, I'm just like, just pour water on them and tell them they pissed themselves. Dude, what the fuck? You pissed on yourself.
And then the very last segment of these new episodes is titled The Bone Hunters, in which they find a chicken bone outside in the garbage and decide that it is a dinosaur bone. and proceed to make a very, very, very poorly made dinosaur in their backyard and charge people to come look at it.
This is a Hank Hill trick. Remember this?
Yep.
Where he tries to put fake chicken and put chicken bones out there to piss off that. Basically, I think it's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
But like, there's fucking artifacts in his yard and shit, and I'm just like, this is a callback to fucking King of the Hill.
Yeah.
But the reason I think it's funny right now is because I just found out. So you've heard of like secret menu items and stuff like that. So apparently KFC has this weird rule: if you order an 8-piece of chicken and are still in the restaurant and you eat the chicken within an hour, they're obliged to refill the bucket for free. That's a rule that someone had found out and then exploited that rule and put it all over fucking TikTok. And it's, you see a KFC person like, oh, hold on. And the manager's like, yeah, I'll be right back. And takes his bucket. And you had crispy, right? He's like, yeah. And then proceeds to give him another bucket of chicken. This is an old rule from KFC from back in the day, from when people ate in the restaurant and you could take a bucket home.
Yeah.
But like, that's an old rule they never got rid of. Just people never use it. But now this guy just fucking yelled fire in the theater and everybody's like, I got to go to KFC. So I'm currently curious how fast KFC is going to turn that fucking shit back.
I mean, KFC is some hot garbage, but I mean, if it's kind of like the burritos the other night. If you pay for two burrito
for the price and get 7.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm buying 1 bucket, but I can get 3.
7 city sandwiches is still better than no sandwich.
That's what I'm saying.
16 pieces of chicken is better than no chicken.
So I am a little curious to see if that still works.
But that pops in my head recently because I was scrolling through the episodes. I was like, oh my God, that's how they did it. They just kept going to KFC, ordering more chicken, taking the meat and skin off, throwing it in the trash, and be like, we want more chicken.
Literally just buying it for the bones. Yeah. But honestly, man, really great season. And I hope that the next one's going to be just as good. And I remember saying this at the very end of the season, just being like, you know what, if they do the new King of the Hill, I'm going to be pretty content. If this is the quality of stuff that the Mike Judge team is currently doing, judgmental films, I'm feeling pretty good about the reboot.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious like how it's going to look. I'm not concerned of what's going to happen in the season. I'm not, because they could do, we've talked about it in length before. They could go different routes. Could they pick up where they left off? Could they go in the future a little bit? Or could it just be a fucking reboot? Either way, it's going to be quality content. The art's what I'm going to look at. How it looks, how it moves. Is it going to look like season 13 or season 12, where they really, got exactly where they wanted. They do some more effects. I believe my favorite one is the Mick house, where it was like the mansion that just flies apart, which is like the peak animation of that show. But yeah, I could see it going that way. The voice acting is going to be the same. You got Catherine A. Jimmy, all them are still going. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for this new season of Beavis and Butthead too. Yeah, because again, he really killed it on this last one. It didn't feel stale. It also didn't feel like boomer humor. Mm-hmm. Because that could have easily turned into, let's just find an excuse to make fun of kids these days. You know what I mean? But I think he kind of hit that stride and just continued on with the 90s sense of humor, which I was quite happy and content with. If only South Park would actually release a little bit more frequently instead of 1 episode every 2 weeks now. It's supposed to be 6 days to air, not 14 days to air, motherfuckers. But anyway, this has been a fun one as we dive back into the wonderful world of Beavis and Butthead. I still think the best cutaway, though, is the Cale Dodds music video one. So if you guys have a chance to check it out, it's on Paramount Plus along with the movie, as we mentioned a few episodes ago. So check it out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Is there any little takeaway from the season that kind of left an impression or a thought in your mind, Chris? I could see them doing a whole series of just reviews of other people's like content, making a YouTube series. Yeah, I'm saying like Dimension 20 does that, but I would love it just to be that, because me and you had talked about it before. The latter seasons of Beavis and Butthead, they do Jersey Shore and stuff like that. Grandma J-Bone, Grandpa Gorilla. Like that would be fun if they did that to their own content. Let's say they're watching something from Comedy Central or they're watching something from MTV. You know, the music videos are one thing, but like there were times where they did stuff of like 16 and pregnant or something like that, just talk cash shit. But they have a whole thing to work with now with
YouTube
and TikTok and Reels and whatever. Instagram. Oh my God, they'd have a fucking ball with Instagram.
God,
I could see them doing an episode where just Beavis doesn't know how Snapchat works.
Yeah.
What's going on? I can't see it no more.
Where'd it go?
Yeah, like,
whoa! Let's go. Send me your boobs, and now they're gone. Bring it back.
Way to go, Beavis.
You dumbass! You scared her away. But for this episode of the Couch Potatoes, I've been Alex and Chris. Do you have any sort of final thoughts for us?
I'm just really excited to see what this new season holds.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would love to just keep ripping on TikToks. The storytelling is no different from what it was back in the day. Just the animation's a little better. But I can't wait to see what Mike Judge has got.